Hi, in this video, we're going to continue to talk about Python dictionary. Oftentimes, it's very useful to, let's say, get all the keys in the dictionary. So in this case, we want to get all the English words. And there is a way to enumerate every key in the dictionary. And not surprisingly, it's with a for loop, right? For all the keys in the dictionary, let's just print out, let's see what the keys are. So this would go through each of the key value pairs in the dictionary and assign each of the keys to the name K so that we can print out each one of them. So there, so we have, since our dictionary only has 3 entries left, we print out, key 1 is 1, and the second one is 2, and the third one is 3. Kind of normally that's how people write it. Sometimes some people might complain, okay, the dictionary is really key value pair, right? So if you just look at it, if you just put a dictionary here, it's not clear. I mean, are we getting the key? Are we getting the value? Are we getting both? So for readability, some people like to actually say keys, but it's essentially doing the same thing as before. It's still just going through the keys, but now it's very obvious that we're talking about keys. Okay. Next thing is, okay, what about we want instead of all the keys, how about all the values? Well, we can get all the values by saying values. And we usually don't, values are not keys, they're not Ks. We want to change it to V, and so we change it to V. And then there. So these are all the values, 1, 2, and 3 in Chinese. Okay. Finally, there's we can get keys, we can get values. How about we get both? And yes, we can get both by saying items. Okay. And now what items? Item is going to return the key value pairs one by one. And so that's 2 things, right? In each pair, there's the key, there's the value. So the way to capture the key and the value in each pair is we say the key first and then the value next. So what it essentially is returning from in each iteration of the items is returning a tuple. Okay, a tuple, the first item is the key and the second item is the value. So, and then we get the tuples. This is a tuple. So we can use the key. So we can say, the key, and then maybe for readability, we put a colon, and then we say, whoops, V. All right, so if we run that, there, it's a key, colon, and the value, key, value, key, value. This is a fairly conventional, convenient way of getting all the key value pairs, but this is, we don't have to do this. And we should already know a way to actually retrieve both key and values if we only have the key. So here's a little exercise for you that if we just have a key, right, like what we did before, going through the keys, how do we print out both the key and the values like what we did before? All right, so that should be easy, so assuming you have done that. And the way to do it really is, if we just, going back to here, if we only have the keys, right, we don't have the value, but we can find the value given the key, right? So we can just say int and k. So the dictionary, given the key, we look up the key, we look up the value by key. So this should give us exactly the same thing. Okay, one important thing about the dictionary. So dictionary, again, is one of data type for collections. Now, this particular collection is the key value pairs. They are unordered. what that means is when you enumerate through this using syntax like this for something in that dictionary, there's no guarantee that the order is going to come out as 1, 2, 3. Now it happens to be 1, 2, 3 in this case, just because it's such a small dictionary, and I guess the way it's stored is just the way that they were initialized. So unfortunately, I couldn't find an easy example to show the fact that it's unordered. But just remember, you cannot assume anything in terms of order when you enumerate or when you iterate through the dictionary. Okay. One more useful thing is that we can check whether a certain key exists in the dictionary. Well, we already try. We all kind of already know one way, right? And that is, we just go ahead and try to get it, right? We can just go ahead like what we did before. We can just say, hey, give us this key, and if it exists, everything is fine. Or in this case, it doesn't exist, then we have a exception. So if you don't like to have an exception, you just want a more, I don't know, civilized way of seeing if a key is in the dictionary, you can actually use, surprise, surprise, the in keyword. Is this key in the dictionary? Okay. And let's do that with one that exists in dictionary. So the first one, 2 is in the dictionary and 10 is not. So it should print out true and false. So run that, and yeah, that's what we have, true and false. So in, we've already seen that we use that to check if an element exists in a list, and it's by using the same keyword we can check if a key is in a dictionary. Okay, and one more thing that I kind of want to mention is, so we've seen the key, we're using a string as keys. Now the keys don't have to be strings, right? We can actually use numeric keys and other types as well. So in this case, I'm showing an example using a numeric key. I'm using 0, and I just want to return the English word associated with the number 0, and then 1, and so on. So if I print this out, I can let me print out the dictionary first, and that's that. No surprise there. And then we can again just look up something by giving it a key, right? And this should give me 0, right? And if you look at this, if the key is a number, this really kind of looks like accessing an element in a list using a numeric index. Okay, so this almost works like a list, except, of course, this is not a list. This is a dictionary, which means the keys can be totally arbitrary, and it doesn't have to be contiguous like the indexes in a list. Okay. All right, so last thing I want to say about dictionary is that we didn't quite talk about how to implement a dictionary, and it's a more advanced topic, and it's something that if you go on to 3C, that's when they'll talk about how to implement a dictionary or map. All right, I believe that's the end of this video.